Gemini Google Canvas is an interactive workspace with the Gemini AI platform. One of the big advantages it offers us is the ability to be able to write your code and see the result live. To access Gemini Canvas, simply make your way to gemini.google.com. And as long as you have a Gmail account or any Google account, you will be granted access. Here I am on my Gemini homepage, and you can see what the screen is. It's the normal thing you get in an AI model, and down here you've got your area where you can put your prompts. I'm going to click on Canvas. We want to activate that so that when we start writing different things, we will be able to make changes to them live as we go along. That is one of the big advantages of Canvas. So inside here, I'm going to put my prompt, and I'm asking it to create me an HTML form that collects data. The following fields should be required: name, email, and comments. The form should not accept any invalid data. Also include a reCAPTCHA to prevent spam. When valid content that is not spam is found, the form should submit the data to a PHP script named accepted.php. So here we're submitting a normal prompt, and let's send. And there you go. Now this is using Gemini 2.5, which at the time of doing this was the latest version. It is one of the best AI models out there for writing code. And here we've got our result back. Now you can see in the canvas, it actually literally shows you the form itself. And here we are in the preview. So once the code is written, you don't have to go to another platform to actually see what your code will look like when it's being run. Now, down here, you can see the reCAPTCHA is not showing. That's because we need to get to the key for that. That is a tool offered by Google, and for each user, they give you a unique key. And all that will be explained to you in the Gemini. But apart from that, you can see that our form here has already been made. And actually, if I were to hit the submit button without putting anything, you can see that it's asking for my name. Now, let me type in something here, and then let's type in something that is not a real email and hit the submit button. And again, it is asking you to enter in a valid email. So we can see this is working already. Now, let's go to the code view. And that's the beauty of this. Where before, to write code, you would have to have both your editor where you're doing the editing, and then maybe your AI model where you first of all paste it in and then you take it back to your editor. You can now do it all within the same environment. So it's getting very close to what we see in tools like GitHub that you have in Visual Studio Code, where you're working all within the same environment. Okay, so here is the code. Now, the beauty about writing code here is that you can ask it to explain the code to you line by line. So for example, notice on my line 8, got a link to a CSS file, which is a style sheet file, but it's using the script tag. Now, I could ask Gemini, and notice what happens when I highlight that inside here. I can say, explain this line. Okay. And so there's the beauty of this. And this is why it is so good in learning how to write code. Because if you've got a question, you can simply highlight the part that you don't understand and ask it to explain it for you. And down here, here's where it now comes to explain it to you. It says you are asking an explanation for the selected code. And it goes on to explain it, why it is using a JavaScript piece of code to include CSS into your file. Okay, we scroll back up. You can see there, if you click on that, this will now tell you about the reCAPTCHA, which we are using. And it's here, it's telling you the information about that. Go to reCAPTCHA the console. It gives you a link to the place where you can get your side key and your secret key to make all of that work. So that's pretty handy. Now, I'm going to go back into this form. Here we are back in the preview. And if we go into the code view, so we now know what that line is doing. But I don't want to use that line. I want it to use ordinary CSS. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this. I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to say remove the link to the Tailwind CSS and write standard CSS to format the form. And the text color in the import box should be, that's a nice deep brown. Okay. And so I send that off again. So here's the beauty of this. You can look through your code, ask it to explain things, and then customize it. And here, the reason why I'm removing the tailwind.css is because, yes, that is a standard library and it's very good. But most of the time, if you're working with this, you've probably already got a whole big website running and you just want to change certain parts of it and you want it to fit into the format, the color style that you've already got. So you want to use custom CSS. And that's what we are doing here. So I've run that again now. And if I now go back to code, you can see that that link, which was going to the Tailwind, has been removed. And we have got nice pure CSS going all the way down. Now, I'm not going to spend this time to go through all of these lines of code, but you can go through all of those. So here we've got our form. It's created it. We will need to go and activate the reCAPTCHA so as to prevent spamming. That's the thing that the Google use. And then the last thing we might want to do is when this form is submitted, it's going to go to accepted.php. And what do we want accepted.php to do? So let's just finalize that. So here's what I'm going to do now. We're going to ask us to create this accepted.php for us. So I'm going to say, now create accepted.php. This should collect the data submitted and write it to a CSV file named received. Let's call it messages.csv. Each new record should be put on a new line. There we are. And you click that, that goes off again. It goes off to write the code for you. Now it is writing a PHP form. Now you can't preview a PHP form in this environment at the moment. So you would have to put this onto your own server where you've got PHP installed. So that is one of the current limitations of when you're writing code, it can only show you client-side code. So things like your HTML, your JavaScript, your CSS, all those can be displayed for you. But if you're doing things like PHP or Python, then it won't be able to display that for you. There are ways around it where you can link it up to other platforms, which can show you the code. So now here it is written the PHP script for us. And you just need to put that onto your server and all that will work along. Again, if there's anything here that is not clear, you can simply highlight the code and ask Gemini. When you ask Gemini, you just have to click this here and you go back to the area where you get your prompt and you will see the answer as it comes up. So very nice and handy. I like to keep these nice and short. So please like and subscribe. And next time we will look at another feature that is coming along with this growing field of AI.